The family tells me every single day since that crash has been a nightmare. Her children are still healing, not just physically, but also emotionally. Dana's best friend is taking this grief and using it to push for change. She's hoping to prevent another family from going through the same pain.
So Dana, she's an amazing woman. She was a mother of 4.
I had an emotional conversation with Jenny Andino. She's Dana Rivera's best friend. Dana Rivera was driving down Gun Highway on February 28th with 3 of her 4 children in the back seat of the car. That's when an impaired driver veered into oncoming traffic, hitting Dana's car and killing her upon impact. Her 3 kids in the back seat were seriously injured, but they survived.
They have, physical scars on top of emotional scars. And now we're left with trying to pick up pieces, trying to build a life for kids who don't have their mom.
Andino says it's been a brutal few months for Dana's friends and family. They all refer to her as their rock and are now struggling to go on without her. Pivotal moments now come with a harsh reminder for these kids.
She was looking forward to those moments, going to pick out her daughter's 8th grade dance, and she doesn't get to do that.
It was hard for her to reflect on, but Hillsborough County deputies confirmed just one day before the crash, Nicholas Betancourt was arrested for a DUI. The very next morning, he was released, and by the afternoon, Betancourt was behind the wheel again, this time with a suspended license. Detectives say he was under the influence of several drugs when he crashed into Rivera.
He was released a few hours before killing Dana, and I feel like if our laws would change, if we would hold people accountable for what they're doing, then this wouldn't happen.
She's now pushing for new laws and launched a petition calling for stricter DUI penalties. Andino wants to see mandatory jail time for people convicted of a DUI and also a 72-hour hold with no bond for drivers who were pulled over while impaired. I spoke to a local criminal defense attorney who tells me that's not likely to happen because it would violate due process.
From a legal and constitutional standpoint, mandatory jail time, especially 72-hour hold without a hearing, we feel would face serious challenges.
However, there is a bill that was recently signed into law that does increase penalties for DUI cases in Florida. Trenton's law goes into effect on October 1st, and it will create harsher penalties for repeat DUI and BUI manslaughter and homicide cases. It will also criminalize refusing a breathalyzer or DUI test. Larry Coggins with MADD Florida says this new law will deter people from getting behind the wheel while impaired.
It's unfortunate we have to have these laws. It's unfortunate that we have to keep working and tweaking these laws to catch up with the times. DUI is 100% preventable.
Again, Trenton's law, also known as House Bill 687, will go into effect here in Florida on October 1st, but it is raising concerns among some legal professionals. I spoke to a criminal defense attorney who tells me parts of the law are just too broad. Trenton's law will create harsher penalties for repeat DUI manslaughter and homicide. The legislation also expands driving under the influence and boating under the influence to include any impairing substance. John Muska with Muska Law Firm explains that means under Trenton's law, Florida can charge a driver if they're impaired by something like NyQuil or even a prescribed medication.
The vagueness creates the possibility of many people being overcharged who weren't actually impaired in the first place. And we believe it puts law enforcement in a much more subjective position, making arrests based on observations rather than measurable standards.
The law also will criminalize first-time refusal of DUI testing like a breathalyzer or urine or blood test during a traffic stop. You can read more about Trenton's law on our website. That's at abcactionnews.com. In studio, I'm Keely McCormick, ABC Action News.